I'll speak to you Monday. Bye. Officially, I've become a full-time YouTuber.
This clip right here is probably the biggest moment of my life. I had just quit a stable, well-paying job to risk it all and become a parkour YouTuber. So how did we get here? I genuinely believe it is more achievable than most people think to turn a niche interest into a full-time YouTube career.
We've got hundreds of trucks all lined up here.
One of the biggest beasts in modern board gaming.
So in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I did it. Ever since the age of 10, I've been obsessed with making videos.
Hello!
I didn't say I was good at them, I was just obsessed. Me and my childhood friends would meet up nearly every day and just film videos. They were obviously all terrible and got hardly any views, but that didn't really matter. But then one day I would strike gold and make my first ever viral video. In 2008, I created a video called How to Make a Bowser Me, and somehow it managed to hit 1.3 million views. Until I got really embarrassed by it and unlisted it. I even made a whopping £100 because someone paid me to replace the audio with their music. Over the course of about a year, I would continue to make these weird and wacky me's.
This is how you make the shock me.
And for some reason, these videos were super successful, which I was a little bit smug about.
As you've probably seen when I got quite a lot of views on some of my old videos. But yeah.
However, this whole series was built on a lie. I don't know how to say this. I've never admitted this before, but I didn't make those me's, alright? There, I said it. I never made the me's. I would just go on the me store and copy whatever looked cool, and then film me recreate it. As successful as these videos were, they never amounted to more than that £100. And I really wasn't trying to be a full-time meme maker. So despite these views, I just hadn't found my thing yet. On the 19th of June 2010, that would all change with one video. Creatively titled Parkour and Freerunning, Kieran Owen, first video, square bracket beginner, square bracket HD, Sony Ericsson vivaz test. I really don't know why I was trying to flex that I had a Sony Ericsson vivaz, but there you go. This was my first ever parkour video. It was back then when I saw my friend Greg doing some flips in the playground, and instantly I fell in love with parkour. Very quickly, parkour just became everything to me. All I wanted to do was parkour. Every day I'd be out training with my friends. I used to get £5 of pocket money a week. This would buy me a sandwich and a bus ticket so I could go out and do parkour. I would take this hour-long rickety bus to St Albans and meet up with this massive community of people to do parkour. Without really knowing it at the time, I had finally found my thing. Parkour was my life. It was all I cared about. Instead of studying for school or worrying about a career, I scraped myself through college and realised I was done with education. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do parkour. Parkour was and still is a very niche community. And back then, people really didn't make parkour a career. There was just no money in it. So how was I going to turn this sport that I wasn't even that good at into a full-time career? Finding the answer to this would cost me friends, time, and money. But somehow, undeterred by this extremely unlikely chance that I'd make it a career, in 2014, I decided I would try my hand at making a parkour clothing brand called Morera Gang.
Introducing new from Morero.
We were parkour's funny guys, making music, goofy videos, clothing with inside jokes, a complete contrast to most of the other brands in the parkour world. In the years to follow, I would take a part-time job to fund this business venture. I even made a secondary business, which was a street food market stand called 24 Carat. That year of 2017 was probably the hardest year of my life. The market stall, the part-time job, and Morera Gang, I was working flat out and making very little money. All with the wishful hope of one day turning parkour into my full-time career. But things just weren't working. The parkour team Morera Gang just wasn't going to make it big. We were making hardly any money, and it was never going to be enough to sustain 4 people to live off. And all the way up until 1 year ago, it felt like my dream of turning parkour into a career was just never going to happen. Parkour had taken a backseat in my life. I was paying rent, I just started a serious relationship, and I started a full-time job in marketing. And the reality of adult life that I'd so longingly tried to avoid slowly crept up on me. Morera Gang had become increasingly stressful, and I'd started to fall out with my friends who I'd started the brand with. And in November 2019, I opened my phone and sent my friends who I'd started parkour 9 years ago with a message that I never thought I would send. This was me admitting to myself I had failed. My dream of turning parkour into a full-time career was over. I had to accept that and pursue a regular career. And as you can imagine, that was a very tough pill to swallow. After a very tough conversation, we parted ways as a team, and very graciously, my business partner Greg allowed me to take the Morera Gang YouTube channel and to turn it into my own channel called Jimmy the Giant. I didn't know what this channel was going to be. I had taken the biggest leap of my life and ended the brand I loved, with a pretty unclear vision of where I was going or even what content I was going to make. It was a pretty daunting time. 10 years of focusing on nothing but parkour might cause you not to go to university. It might cause you to only get part-time jobs and live at your parents for a very long time. But it will give you one thing, and that is a whole load of stories. As this was all happening at the same time, I had just started dating my now wonderful girlfriend, Emily. And as I was trying to woo her over, I would tell her of the many stories I'd collected over my years of doing parkour. Adventures, travels, all these crazy things I'd got up to. But there was one story that I told her that stood out from the rest. And that was the very strange tale of urban free flow. Look, I'm not going to tell you the story here because I made a whole video on that. But effectively, I was telling her this extremely niche story from the parkour world. A story that, in the grand scheme of things, only a handful of people would know. And as I was telling her this story, I noticed something. There was Emily, someone who didn't care about parkour, totally fascinated by this story I was telling her. It was that moment where a light just turned on in my brain. And I very quickly realised I needed to make this a video. So I got to work. I made a full 16-minute documentary, something I had never done before. Written, voiced, edited, all by me. In January of 2020, I would announce, for the first time publicly, the end of Morera Gang. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, Morera Gang has come to an end. I explained to our loyal audience what happened, and that from now on it was going to be just me. I explained what I wanted from the channel, and the milestones that I'd set for myself. I'd like to hit like 10k subscribers by the end of next year. And I'd publicly made the promise of this one big documentary that I was working on. People were sad about Morera Gang coming to an end, but people were also very excited for this documentary. I had hyped it and hyped it and hyped it. A few days later, I sat anxiously as I released this much hyped video, how one man nearly destroyed parkour. In 2020, parkour has become a booming economy. To me, this felt like a make or break moment for the future of my channel. In just 2 weeks, the video had hit 10,000 views. In just 2 weeks, this video had done better than any video I'd ever put out previously, and in record time. A week later, I had made a video with Stora on their YouTube channel.
This is Jimmy the Giant, everyone. Hello, Dan.
As that video went live, a portion of the Stora audience came back to my channel. I saw my subscribers start to rise, and consequently, the views on my documentary started to rise too. And they just didn't stop rising. The documentary was a massive success, beyond anything I could have anticipated. Just 1 month after releasing it, the video had hit 150,000 views. And it was at this moment I realised what I needed to do with my YouTube channel. I got to work. I made another documentary, and another, and another. Each video was doing 10 times better than any of my old videos ever. I was starting to hit 100,000 views on a semi-regular basis. The channel got monetized, and as you can probably expect, a wave of optimism had hit me. And for the first time in 10 years of doing parkour, I felt a very real possibility of turning this into a career. There I was, some random guy who wasn't even that good at parkour, somehow getting an insane amount of views on these in-depth niche stories that I thought no one would care about. I couldn't wrap my head around it, but I didn't question it. Shortly after, I started a Patreon, and one day I would receive a donation that would totally change my life. I received a donation by a gentleman by the name of Tom. The donation came attached with this message. Tom had expressed that my channel had reignited his love for parkour and its culture. And at the end of the message, it read, "Is there an email address that you'd prefer to talk business?" As you can imagine, instantly my eyes lit up. Tom told me that he ran a company and that they were interested in working with me. That company being Vite Ramen, a company that set out to make nutrition easier. Vite Ramen started to sponsor me, like this video today, to advertise their delicious, protein-rich noodles. Use code JimmyTheGiantUK to get a 10% discount. Anyway, I was amazed. Someone wanted to pay me money to be in one of my videos. And on top of that, it was a product that I could really get behind. At this point, I knew it was game on. The city of London is at war with parkour. There is one jump that has stood the test of time.
From chasing cheese down a hill to...
A new parkour game has been announced. Day and night, I was creating these full in-depth videos all about the parkour world. My videos would explore everything from parkour's history, its culture, and even its economy. These were topics that I didn't think anyone would care about. But the channel just kept growing. 2 months after announcing the end of Morera Gang, I had hit my milestone of 10,000 subscribers in just 2 months, which I thought would take me the whole year. Shortly after, I hit 20,000 subscribers, and then a global pandemic happened.
Stay at home, protect our NHS, and save lives.
Businesses closed, economies shut down, and I got furloughed from my day job for 3 whole weeks. For 3 weeks, I was living the dream. I was effectively a full-time YouTuber. I got a taste of freedom. But then, as quickly as it came, it went. I was called back into work to carry on with my full-time job. Whilst I was working this job that I really did like, my YouTube channel was on the side just growing and growing. I was getting sponsored by different companies, and I even got paid to work on World Chase Tag's USA TV show.
Eric Mukamation.
But I had to turn down working a few days on this TV show because of my full-time job. As time passed, I had a decision to make. And all this leads us to the 14th of December, 2020.
Yeah. No, yeah. Cool. All right, I'll speak to you Monday. I did it. Officially, I've become a full-time YouTuber.
So how did this happen? Why did a very niche parkour-focused channel just suddenly blow up? Look, I'm not going to say I know for a fact, but I do have some theories that I really want to share with you guys. Hopefully something I say here might help you with something you're working on. I made content that I truly loved and was passionate about. For years, I didn't hop from one thing to the next. I focused in on something I truly cared about. Parkour is my life, and I so passionately want to share that with other people. Through my time in the sport, I went out of my way to meet the right people and create opportunities. Parkour has given me so much good in my life, and I so genuinely want more people to experience in that. Having this passion will give you a fuel and an energy to share the thing you love with more people. And people will feel your genuine enthusiasm. Passion will lead you to finding creative ways of sharing the thing you love with people. Secondly, I become more of a realist and less of an idealist. I had to be honest with myself. I had to let go of things at the time I needed to let go of them. For instance, I learned to work with the YouTube algorithm by creating more clickable titles, better thumbnails, etc. Previously, this was something I would never want to do. I would always look down on all that. I was holding so tightly on to these rigid ideals that it kind of got me nowhere. It's easy when you're an artist to complain about the way things should be and not accept reality. This would lead me to not make certain videos that I genuinely wanted to make for fear that they might not be original enough, or others might think that they weren't. It's so easy to get lost in this idealistic view of how things should be, but it holds people back massively. You can't make a change in the world of art if you're not willing to do the things to let people see your art. It's a shame, but that's reality. And that's why I say, be a realist and not an idealist. And lastly, I just never gave up. I was stubborn. I refused to give up. Even when it was becoming so alarmingly clear that Morera Gang was never going to work, there was still this thing inside of me that just wouldn't give up. I just couldn't let myself. Over the years, I've seen a lot of people come and go from parkour in particular. Extremely talented people way more talented than me. But despite their talent, they gave up. Because things didn't happen at the exact time they wanted it to, or in the exact way they wanted it to. And it's funny because genuinely, I have never been naturally good at anything. I really mean that. Whether that's making videos or making music, or even talking to camera, I've had to work my butt off to be just okay at things. If you truly want something, you can't let go. Maybe you have to be flexible, maybe you have to do it in a different way, but if you give up, you'll never find out. I hope my story can inspire even just one person to keep pushing at what they're working on. With this channel, I really want to help other people achieve their goals. It's one of my friends who I started training parkour with called Liam. He has a brand called Parkour Journeys, and they just released this really nice line of clothing that is all hand printed. And on top of this, do these weekly high quality vlogs over on YouTube. I'll link that below. It'd really mean a lot if you could check those guys out. The world is filled with people like Liam who are incredibly talented. So I came up with an idea. I want to offer one-on-one workshops where I can sit with you and talk through what it is you're working on. I'll critique what you're working on, I'll give you advice from my years of trial and error, and I'll create a one-on-one game plan with you. I'll offer that on my Patreon, so I'll put the link to that below. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every single one of you. This has been my dream since I was a kid, and you guys got me here. All of you have helped turn this unorganized kid with little direction into a very happy person who is fulfilling his dream. Thank you.